Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking when you see these videos. I'm so happy to have you back. Guys, what are your predictions about Canada election? Who do you want to win? I want you to let me know. But before that, let's see this video.
It's almost over, guys, but really it's just the beginning. We are 48 hours away from finding out who is going to be the next Prime Minister of Canada, or maybe continue to be the Prime Minister of Canada for the next 4 years. Blanchette, the leader of the Bloc, says that Canada is an artificial country. My personal take on that is I think Blanchette is getting sour. Maybe he knows that his party is going to lose a lot of seats come Monday, and so now he's just saying whatever he wants to say. Tim Houston, the Premier of Nova Scotia, actually put out a letter addressing his comments, which tells me for sure he is eyeing Conservative Party leadership. Because you don't really put out comments condemning the Bloc leader from Quebec when you're the Premier of Nova Scotia, unless you're potentially looking at trying to unite the country around yourself. Now, Tim Houston is really interesting. He is not a Poilievre fan, and that is well known. He has actually refused to be associated with Pierre Poilievre. But I'll be honest, Tim Houston is a different kind of conservative, and should he end up being the next leader of the Conservative Party, he's actually probably somebody that I could say, yeah, you know what? I'm okay with him. I think he's a decent guy. Saying that, if the Conservatives lose the election come Monday, I think there is a possibility that they could implode and you could see the party split up. I think there is some longtime Conservatives in the party who are very upset that the far right Conservatives have essentially hijacked them and taken over the entire party. And that will ultimately be the reason that they lose, if they lose, on Monday night. Jagmeet Singh also said yesterday that you should never trust a liberal. Here's the thing, we know that this is going to be Jagmeet's final election. There's no way that he can continue on as the NDP leader after this. I didn't cover the NDP basically at all during this election cycle because I just feel so incredibly let down by the party. But it's like, gosh, man, go out on a positive note. Sell a message of unity, but I guess that's too much to ask. The party leaders are doing campaign stops at what seems like every hour today and probably into tomorrow, trying to shore up vote in areas that they think they need to. It's hard to keep track of all of it, but if anything happens that's interesting, I'll let you know. Now, a lot of people have asked me what I'm going to do after the election, and I'm going to be completely honest and transparent with you guys. Regardless of what happens on election night, I'm going to be right here. Whether it's Poilievre or Carney as our Prime Minister, I'm going to be covering them every single day. I'll probably cover Donald Trump a little bit more, but also I will be planning the demise of Danielle Smith in Alberta. Saying that, I may not have to do that because if the Conservatives do lose on Monday night, I feel like she is going to be the first enemy of the Conservative establishment. Nobody in any really conservative circles around Canada want anything to do with her because they just know that she is not popular. And the optics in Alberta right now are not good. In fact, I feel like we could be maybe the next province to have an election if things keep going the way they are. But also, I'm going to be working a lot on advancing my podcast and my writing. I hope that I can form this into some kind of career. Seems like I've got a long way to go, but you got to start somewhere. I spend hours every day writing articles and recording videos for you guys, but honestly, I love it. So if you want to support my work, you can go to my Substack, you know where the link is, and you can literally change my life. I wrote this piece today about the rise of Pierre Poilievre, and I think it's actually the best piece that I've ever written, so you should go read it. But I want to leave you with this quote that I thought of after I wrote the article, which is, "The strength of a nation is not measured by the loudness of its anger, but by the quiet courage of its hope. In moments of uncertainty, we don't need louder voices, we need braver hearts."
Poilievre or Carney?
Poilievre.
Tell me why.
That's all I have to say.
Who do you think is going to be the best possible leader of our country? Marc Carney or Pierre Poilievre?
Pierre Poilievre.
Okay, tell me more.
Tell me more? I don't like either of them, to be honest, but I think of the two evils, I'll take Pierre.
Really? So you would have preferred Trudeau?
Yeah, I want my guy back,
What did you like about Trudeau?
Him, yeah, he's just, he's just a cool-looking guy, like, he looks like he's doing good, at first, and then, I don't know what happened, but he legalized weed too, so I don't know.
Poilievre or Carney?
Oliver by 100 times over.
Tell me why.
Why? He's the one who's got the policies, and Kearney sucks.
Just look at the last 10 years of our country. That's all you got to do. Look at the economy. Look at the GDP growth. Look at the cost of living.
I believe the Liberal government over the next 4 years will flood our country with people who will depend on them to provide their most basic needs, food and shelter, as long as the future majority needs the government to survive. The Liberal Party will always remain in power. These new houses, owned and built by the government, will offer shelter to those adding to our population, and the rent will be paid by the Canadian taxpayer. I have lost trust in 10 years of the Liberal government. I have seen too many promises that were never kept. To me, it's so glaringly obvious. The fear of Trump has been flashed before their eyes. It's part of a playbook that Canadians seem to be buying. Can you look into the future? After a while, the hard-working Canadians that get up every day at 6 and work their entire life throw up their hands and say, "Why am I doing this?" By then they will be broke, trying to make ends meet between paychecks. That is why this election is so important. It's pivotal. I feel like we're heading towards a Canada that we will no longer recognize. Please go out and vote. Be wise. This might be the last time you will see another party leading Canada.
You know who I'm voting for? I'm going to vote for Pierre Poilievre. You want to know why? Because I am sick and tired of the Liberal government. They've been in office way too long. They've done way too much damage. And if you do not see that, then there's something wrong. We need the change. Canadians, you need to step up and you need to vote for Pierre, because this is a chance for us to get our Canada back, get ourselves back on track again. It might take some time. You know, he can't make things happen overnight, obviously, because there's so much damage done. But you know what? This is a time for you to step up, use your voice, so that way we can see real change in the future. It's always up to you guys. Now's your time. Vote Pierre for PM.
For the ones that are asking me who I voted for, I'm gonna tell you exactly who I voted for. I voted for pay equity, pension protection, for kids' lunch program, for a $10 a day daycare, for healthcare, for dental and pharmacare. I voted for improving work conditions and not cutting jobs through attrition. Voted for raising minimum wage and respecting the Charter of Rights, for a sick paid leave, for a woman's right to make choices about her own body. I voted for the importance of respect to my fellow Canadians, regardless of their political views, affiliations, race, religion, background, and color. I voted for a plan with a vision instead of inaccuracies and fear. I voted for a vision that includes global economics and alliances instead of custom-made economical plans within for its own cult. I voted for humility and intelligence. And finally, yes, I voted for the adult in the room, and I voted for the person that really believes Canada first.
If you voted for the Conservative Party of Canada, or if you will be voting for the Conservative Party of Canada, I want to follow you, because we need to stick together in these hard times where everything is ridiculously expensive and crime is on the rise. We need to stick together if we're going to get through this.
So good news is I went and voted on Sunday with my whole household. And you want to know what? We voted Conservative. You want to know why? Because we want our kids and our grandkids to have a better future. One where they can actually buy a house, find a decent job, be able to afford food, and put gas in their car. And you want to know what? While I'm doing this for my kids and my grandkids, you want to know what? If you're a Liberal supporter, that's okay. You have your own choice or whatever. But you want to know what? I voted for your kids and grandkids too to have a better future. So you know what? You're welcome.
You obviously have to vote for this guy. You'd be insane if you didn't. What's hilarious is that people listen to Pierre Poilievre, and he just said this. He just said, we have to sell off federal lands. Who are you going to sell that to? You're going to sell that to, private companies, your developer friends. You're going to sell it to them at like a super discount, and you're going to make sure they sell them at a super discount? Like, what's the point otherwise, right? Because otherwise you're going to sell it. You're going to sell federal lands to your developer buddies. They're going to sell it at market value. You're going to give them a incentive to build this thing. They're going to keep that HST rebate that you give them. Because remember, buyers just see the purchase price. The HST is in that already. So you're not saving them any money. The only place you're saving people money on making that purchase, and only if it's a new home, is if you take away the development charges, which the buyer actually pays when they close. It's on the statement of adjustments. So any sort of tax incentive, developer's pocket. Any sort of selling of federal lands, unless you sell them at like a mandated discount and then mandate a...
Guys, I want you to drop your prediction in the comment section. After 48 hours, I'm going to come back to this video to see if your prediction was right. And for now, I'm going to see you on the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for liking and sharing. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.